Hello, welcome to this Softr tutorial. My name is Paul Okuduwa. It's so good to have you here. There's nothing else we do in this channel than to help you streamline your workflow and build very profitable applications that you can use to improve your work, that you can use to save time, and just improve your entire workflow. Today we are getting into Softr for the very first time, because Softr is a tool that I've come to love. It's a very beautiful tool that allows you to build applications directly from your data. Right. So if you have data lying around the place in your company, it might be customer records, it might be product records, it might be, anything that you can tie to data. Software allows you to build that. I'm pretty sure that some of those things will include CRM, like you can see on the screen. You want to know how things are moving around your company. It could be a customer portal for project. It could be a project management. It could be a task management. It could be a feed management software. Of course, those you can build them with Softr. And a good thing is that you can build mobile applications. So you can turn your apps into web applications, mobile applications that is accessible anywhere you want to. And one thing I love about Softr is how easy you can get started. I mean, you can get started really easily, and you can plug and play Softr into any type of project, any type of data. I saw someone create a Softr app from HubSpot. They used to use HubSpot and they were using Airtable, but Airtable is quite expensive when you compare it to Softr. They had to move the Airtable application down to Softr and connect it with their HubSpot dashboard, and it was awesome. I think it was saving them a couple of thousands in yearly expenses. Right. What are some of the reasons why you should use Softr? I think the first for me is that you are able to integrate data from lots and lots of sources. For example, you can get data from CSV, from your spreadsheet, from your invoices, from Notion, from Airtable, from HubSpot. Anywhere you have data, you can connect it to HubSpot. And another reason why I love Softr is rapid development. I come from from using Bubble and Flow and other tools that I teach in my channel. I think the only other software that allows you to get started immediately without spending so much time is Glide. Glide is very similar to Softr. So that's one reason why I like Softr, because it's very easy to get started and development can be very, very rapid, right? You can whip a software application within a few hours in comparison to tools like Bubble, Retool, and the likes. And another thing that I like about Software is how much permissions you have. You have permissions to do so many things, right? You can give permissions to different persons in your organization, and they only see what you permit them to see. They have numerous ways you can create these permissions in your application. Okay, so with that said, we're just going to go through, we're going to go into Softr and begin to discover what Softr is all about and how you can get started. This is a beginner's course. Don't worry, you do not need to know anything. You just have to have a mind that you want to be something, probably for your company or for a client or for yourself, to manage your day-to-day daily data flow. Of course, you know that when you want to access any application, you have to sign up and log in. That's a normal thing to do. So when you come into Softr, this is the page you see. You're given three different options. First, you can start from scratch, or you can use one of its template, or you can generate with AI. There's AI for anything these days. You just go ahead and generate with AI, and you then begin to make some tweaks here and there. But for the sake of this course, we're going to start from scratch. I'm not going to explore templates, neither am I going to generate AI. I'm just going to begin from scratch, So we say click on start from scratch, and the next pop-up you see is where do you want to get your data from? Like I said in the introduction, you will see that there's a whole lot of places where you can get your data from, and these places are very popular. And I think one of the most amazing things that Softr just dropped a few days ago is the fact that you are able to get your data from REST API. So this REST API means that you'll be able to communicate with as many tools as possible, and that tool will be able to send data into Softr, and the database that you want to access doesn't have to be listed here. All you have to do is to connect this API to the data, and Softr just always sync up with that data and pull it here all the time, right? So this is the two most popular database that you will likely be using with Softr. It's either you're using the Softr database or the Airtable database. Airtable is by far the most popular because it has been here for a long time, and Softr database is just trying to play catch up for now. I spoke with their agent and they said they are releasing a whole lot more function for the database. But for now, if you want to get the best of Softr, then you have to use Airtable. But since we are running the beginner class here, I think we're going to use the Softr database because it presents very, very similar features to Airtable, and they even have very similar colors, right? So let's click on Softr and we'll click on continue. Together, we will build a customer portal application. We just build something cool so that you'll be able to see how data flow from one place to another. So once you get in here, the first thing you would see is this dashboard that is just empty. All these are demo data. They are empty and there is nothing about it. So you can remove everything you see in here and it's not going to have any effect, right? So let's go. We have three different tabs to look at here. The first one is the interface, which you see here. This is where you do all your development, and this is where you represent things visually. This is where you represent things visually in your application. So it has literally nothing to do with the data aspect of things, because Softr is all about helping you to represent your data the best way possible. So we have the interface and then we have the data. This is where all the magic happens, because this is where your data stays, and you would see if you've connected any data, you will see them here. If you've created any app before, you will see all of them here. And here, this is users, right? That's the next one. This is where you see everybody who used your application. First thing is to come here. If you're building a real application, the first thing you want to do is to come here, click on authentication and ask yourself, how are people going to authenticate in my application? Do I want to allow Google sign in? Then you have to put in your Google Client ID, your Google Secret ID, and everything will likely be internal, because you want users to be able if this application is restricted to your company, to every staff in your company, then it has to be internal. But if it's for everybody, then it can be external. That means anybody will be able to sign in with Google just like so. And then there's also the option of using Magic Link. What does this do? When a user signs in, right, they are sent a link, and that link they use it to, when they click on that link, it redirects them to your application, right? So the thing is that Magic Link don't really expire, so it's not a cool thing for you to use if your application has very sensitive data in it, so that when a person's email is accessed by an unauthorized user, you don't get burnt in the process. So there is do you want anyone to be signed up, or you want people to be invited? If you are running a business, then you want people to be invited. But if it's just a regular application that you want to put on the internet, say for example, you're building a real estate listing application and you want to put it on the internet, of course you want to allow anyone to sign up. But if you are creating something that you want to use internally, then you want to disable it. You want to only sign up those who you invite. And then the security, you want to lock people out. All right, this is a constant function. But when do you want to lock people out? Do you want to lock them out every 30 days, every 40 days, And then we also have the users table. You can add users from here, or you can add users from another table, right? If you are using an Airtable database, you can add users from the Airtable database and all the users will stay here, right? What it means that if you have a team of like say 50 people, 200 persons, instead of you to begin to add them one after the other, you can add all of them here and they will be part of your app immediately. And then there is user group. Don't worry, you're not seeing all of these things because this particular account that I'm using to teach is not subscribed, so that's why. So Software has different user group. Let's say, for example, you're creating an app for a customer, you're creating a customer management application like we're doing right now. You will see that in the whole customer chain, you would have the seller, you would have the wholesaler, and probably you have distributors, you would have you yourself who own the business. So for that user group, you want to create some things that only customers can see, that only wholesalers can see, that only admins can see, and only distributors can see. So if you do it like that, it means that you have like 4 different user group in your application. And then when you're building your software application, you would have to create it in such a way that different user group see different things in your application. And then there is data restriction, global data restriction. So what this does is that it limits people who can do stuff in your application. That's what it does. It just have a way of, so for example, this is what we're setting. It just limits who can do stuff in your application, which user group can create, which user group can update. So the way it would normally be is that if your admin, you create a restriction for your admin that your admin will be able to create, read, and delete, right? That's the admin user group. Then if you are a distributor, you will likely create something that they will only be able to view and create stuff, probably edit stuff, but they will not be able to delete anything in your application. So it's another way that you can add additional security in your software application. And then lastly, here you have notifications. These are self-explanatory. You can come here and you can change all of these yourself. Once you're okay with setting up your security and you're okay with your authentication, the next place to go is the data side of things. So you want to ask yourself, where's my data going to be coming from? Just like I said in this tutorial, our data is going to be coming from here, which is Softr. Now we're going to click on this add sign here, and we'll just add this Softr database. Of course, you can use the same database you've used in your application before here. So on Softr, one app can use 20 database and 20 apps can use one database. It depends on what you're really looking for to create in Gen, but I'm just going to use this one and I'm going to say continue. Now we have this untitled database here, right here. So we have this untitled database right here, and we can always go and change the name of the database. I reached out to a software customer service agent, and they say you can change your database name by double clicking, but it obviously does not work. So this is how you change it. You go down to your dashboard. Yeah, it's pretty far. You go down to your dashboard, click on data sources, click on click right here. Yeah, click on database. Yeah, click on database. And you'd have to find the one that you just created now. And of course, there's nothing in this one. So we'll come back here and we'll change it. Click here, say rename, and then we'll call it Softr Customer Hotel Tutorial. And hit enter, and then now we can go back to our application. We'll go back to our application and we can start building with that particular database. So you can see our application here does not have a name. We'll have to rename it, but click into it and click right here to rename it. We're gonna call it Softr Customer Portal. So when you're creating your database in your software application, the first thing you want to ask yourself is, what job do I want to do? What's the job to be done? Or probably where's this data going to come from? So since you're creating all your database here, it means that you're creating your database from your application from scratch, and everything is going to be done here. So it's a table. Every table has rows and columns. So if you've ever used a spreadsheet before, it means that you'll be very familiar with the Softr table, right? So you have to ask yourself, what do I want to do, and what job do I want to be done in my application? Right. So if we click on this table, and we rename it, and since we're creating a customer portal, that means the first set of people in the application will be customers, right? It will be customers. These are the first set of people, or it will be your users, right? So if it's an internal application, it will be your users, yeah. But if it's both internal and external application, it means that you're going to have users separately, and then you're going to have customers separately, right? It depends on who's going to be using the application. Customers can also be users, and users can also be customers. It means that you're going to have different user group in your application. So you're going to have users. Every user will be customers, and every user will be users in your application. And then you would then have to understand which part of your users are customers and which part of your users are admin in your organization. So let's first of all create this first table and call it users. And I'll say save. And then you see that the user will have a name. Software already created that for you. A user will have a role, right? A user will have a role, and the role will likely be a select, right? It will be a select right here, like so. So we would say customer, and then we would have admin. So if a person is a customer, they will see something else. If they are an admin, they will also see something else. And then we'll say update. So meanwhile, when you create a user, you can set their default role to we can set their default role if we want to. Okay, select, let's say admin, add, customer, add, and then our default role will be customer, and then we say save. So, and then we'll say status. So status can be if this person is active or if this person is inactive. It's another way to add additional security to your application. So you can decide to say, I'm not going to allow this person into my application. This person is going to keep on being a user, but they're not going to be active. And also you can also track if they've not used the application for X amount of days. It means they are inactive, and they're active. So we're going to also make this a select also. We're going to make this a select, and we're going to say active, inactive, and then we're also going to say suspended. This, you don't have to add everything like this, but we'll just doing it for the sake of this tutorial. So let's add another feed here. So you see, Softr has a couple of feeds that you can use. It has short test, long test, select. We've used this before. It has file. So if you're going to be including an image, that's what you should use. But I think it's better for you to use a URL. Right, it's better for you to upload the image somewhere and use a URL, or it's better for you to upload the file and then copy the URL of the file and create another feed called URL. The reason why URL is a whole lot better is because you can move URL from one table to another one, but file, you can't really move it as at this time. But file, you can move it as at the time of recording this video. So let's go for this one, phone number, say save. So let's go for this and say city. And then let's say URL. So this would be for profile image. Profile image. So we save. So now we've created the user, and we missed one thing. So we missed the email. So we need to add an email address because every user should have an email. So this is the email address. We're going to drag it to the end. We'll drag it to the end. So in order for this tutorial to be fun, I'm going to go ahead and fill up the data that I'm going to use here. I'm just going to add a couple of users to this particular records so that we are able to represent them in our database very well, right? Go adios, join me in the class so that things are very, very fast. Welcome back. So I hope you've been able to add a few records to yours. So mine, I have name, email, status, profile image, role, title. This is something you can add if you want to. And then also have phone number and have city. So this is the way you add records in Softr. Let's add one more record called product. So you can import and then you can add a blank, record. So for the sake of this class, I'm just going to import to make it a whole lot faster. I'm going to import a CSV record I created before. I'm going to upload it. And I'm going to import the data. And what I'm going to do is so this is my product record. So I have name, description, price, SKU, photo. So the photo is not going to show because Softr is seeing the photo as files, but I'm going to change it as URL because it's a URL, and I'm going to save it. I'm going to update it, right? And the last thing that I want to add here is the order, right? You can decide to import if you have a table before, but we don't have to import this. We're just going to, because it's only a few records that we need here. We just need the customer who made the order. The customer who made the order. So let's turn it into customer name. Let's turn it into like this, customer name. And then we're gonna add something here called the order note. And then we'll have status of the order. If the order has been delivered, right? If the order is pending, if the order has been approved, and we'll just say the default, we're going to say the default is pending, right? And then we'll add which product is it. Short test will say which product. Product name for this order. So we call it product name. And lastly, we're going to say which customer. So which customer was the email of the customer. So we say, let's turn it into email, customer email. So we're going to do more with this table, but this is just the basics, right? So one thing that is very awesome about Softr is that you can create relationship between all of these three tables. I'm gonna name this table again and call it orders, right? So if we click on the user table, we know that a user will probably create a product. So it means that a product belongs to a user. So one user can create many products and one product belongs to a user. So it's called relationship. There are different types of relationship. There is one-to-many relationship, there is many-to-one relationship, and there is many-to-many relationship. So what here is that one product, right? One product belongs to a user, and one user can have multiple products, right? So we can link these from any of the table. So we can link to the user from the product database, and we can link to the product from the user database, right? It depends on what we want to do with it. Because every product in the database is a record, and that record has to be created by somebody, right? So let's go through that relationship. So we'll add another feed, and we will call this related record. That's what we call it. We call it related record, and we would say product, would say user relationship, that's what we call it. Say user. And then the table that we want to relate with is the user table. That's what we want to relate with. And it's going to say allow linking to multiple records, right? Do we want to link one user to multiple records? So we'd say, okay. And then we say save. And then once we save, it will ask us, what do you want to pull up from these particular records, right? Do you want to pull up the email? Do you want to pull up the profile image? Do you want to pull up the role? Do you want to pull up the title and the phone number, right? So we'd say, I want to pull up the name only. I want to pull up the email, and I don't want to pull up anything. I'm okay. I want to pull up probably I want to pull up the city and the phone number. But you can see that because of this related records was created, that Softr also created the product table, a product record in the user table. So let's add this so you see what happens. So you can see that we have this user relationship right here. And if we want to check out this user relationship, if we pull this in and say Elsa Beverly, you can see that Softr is automatically pulling all the records that we wanted, right? But we want to do something here. Because we know that one user can have one product belongs to one user, and one user have multiple products. So we're not going to allow multiple records here. It's going to allow one single record. So it means that once a product has been assigned to someone, that person owns that product entirely, right? So we can go ahead and we can add a whole lot more people that this product belongs to this person. So what we are simulating here is that this record have been created by this persons. These persons, they went into the database, they have that the right to do so, and then they created all of these records. That's what we're doing. So another part where we're going to learn a whole lot more is the order table. The order table has the customer name, it has the order note, it has the status, it has the product name, and the customer email. But all this stuff is going to come from the product and from the user table. So we don't really have to create all of this. So the only thing that we need is the order note, right? We need the order note and a few order records. Say, for example, we can add other feeds like we can add a number feed and that says quantity. So how many did the person how many did the person order? So we can have quantity, and we can add a suffix and say products. So that's going to be like 5 products, something like that. So we can add quantity, and then we can add another thing here called total cost. So probably it has something like total cost. Okay, let's say cost first. Let's make it cost, and this is going to be a number at how much. That's going to be how much each product costs, right? And we're going to add a prefix to it. I'm going to add a prefix to it and say save. And then we're going to have another one called total cost, right? Total cost. And this right here, it's going to be a formula, right? It's not going to be any of the other type because you're trying to add 2 things together, right? Total cost is going to be, so you're going to do it like this, quantity like this, times something like this times cost, like so. And if it works, you would know. So you can put 5 here, 5 here. It should turn 25. So you can see that's a formula feed, and that's something that we'll have to do as we go. So let's take this off. And so how do we bring in the product and the customer, right? So let's say a customer order department would have to we'll have to edit this customer name, right? Let's edit this customer name, and then we'll call it, so we'll call this customer relations. That's what we'll call this, customer relations. And we'll call it relationship. So what we're doing is that, well, we want to link, we want to know who placed the order, right? And we want to know which product they placed as the order, right? That's what we want to know. Let's go to the other end. I'm sure we'll be able to do this here peacefully. Yeah, related records, customer related records. And then we'll say where, we'll say the user, right? Here, we're not going to allow the customer to, we're not going to say multiple, right? We're not going to say multiple. We'll leave it like so. And then what do we want to get? What details do we want to get about the customer? We want to get their name, their email, their profile image, their role, and their city. That's what we want to get, nothing else. So now we've populated all of this, but these are going to be self-populating, right? We don't need this anymore. You can delete this feed, but it's a primary feed. That's the reason why it can be deleted. But instead of having this as a primary feed, we can turn it into something like an order ID. Instead of, because we are creating the customer from another aspect of it. So we just say record ID, and we just update it. So that's fine. So you can see it's going to generate a unique ID for the order. So the next thing that we want to do is to change this product name, just change this product name, edit feed, and call it related. Call it a related record, and say I'm going to relate it with the product, and just say yes. So because a person can actually add multiple products to the same order if they want to, and except probably when the person is placing an order, they can only add one product. So if they can only add one product, just allow linking to multiple records, say no, and save, update. This did not update well at all. So probably what we'll do is to create it from start. So I'm going to delete this, and I will come back here, add a record, add a related record. Don't worry, as you build with Softr, you'll get used to it, that this is the way things are done. Databases can be really boring, and the interface is really, really fun, but if you don't get the database right, you would not be able to do a whole lot with the interface. So let's go related records, related product records. And then we will say it's related to product, and we say save. And what do we want? We want the product name. We want the price, because it's very important that we have the price. And then also we want the price. We want the category name. So we don't want anything anymore from the product. So here now we have this, we have the price. So if we come here and we say edit feed, you see that this is the price, and we can always use this for our formula. So forgive me, we did our formula wrong the last time. Where's the total cost? This cost will take it away. We'll take it away because we don't want to keep adding the cost every time. So we'll take it away. And once you take it away, it means that the total cost formula is wrong. So we're going to change these now to this. And this should be all right. All right. So we're going to take this to the end. Take the total cost to the end and also take the quantity to the end. Okay, so I think that's all we have to do, and I'll delete this other record that was created previously. Okay, so congratulations, you've been able to set up your database perfectly, and now it's time for us to go to the interface side of things. Go drink water or take a sip of cup of coffee and come join me for the next 10-15 minutes so we can go through the interface side of things. Thank you very much for watching this software tutorial. Before we continue, I wanted to let you know that I recently completed my software professional certification, hence the reason why I'm able to teach software. That means if you're looking forward to building your internal tool with Softr, or you're looking forward to building an application with Softr, feel free to click on the link below and I'll be glad to discuss with you and see if we're a good fit for each other. With that said, let's go back to learning how to use the Softr interface. When you come to the interface side of Softr, you will see three different icons here. You will see pages, which is how you go from one place to another. You'll see the home page, and then you will see, a couple of things, a couple of other pages too, but you can delete all of these pages. Every one of these pages, you can delete all of them. So to delete the pages, simply say you don't want the pages anymore, and you just delete them. So let's go back here for the home page. Simply click on this and you can delete if you want to. Detail page, you can delete it if you want to. Done. And the form, you can also delete the form page also. So every page that you don't like, you can delete them. And also you have other pages that comes directly with Softr. You have the login page. This is where users will log into your application. You have the account settings page. All these you can customize the way you want to. And also for your homepage, you can design it, you can create it perfectly, and it's going to work very well. And also, let's add a page here. Let's imagine that this is going to be the homepage for the application, where users will learn about your product. So we can delete everything here. And we're starting with an empty canvas, right? This is where users are going to learn about your application, right? When they first see your application, or you can do it in such a way that when users are logged in, this is where they come, and then you can click on the page and create another page that you call probably home. Let's just imagine that this is going to be called home visit. So this is where you can add a few things that will enable people to learn about your product, right? And here we can take away so here we can decide to say that we want our navigation to be on top. We do not want our navigation to be on the side, simply because here this is the page that we want to show to all the people, so we can tell that, oh, okay, that's fine, let's just leave our navigation like this, right, on this particular page. So let's go forward a bit. In order for us to design our homepage, we're just going to use static data to design it that we can always change. So let's go to our homepage visit first. Sorry, we're going back and forth, but let's stay with our homepage visit first, and let's go click on our static containers. And first, we'll drag in a hero image into it. So this is our hero image. We'll drag it into it, and this will become, a homepage that we can use to tell people about what they will benefit. We can come here and edit the title, edit the subtitle, background image, buttons. We can edit everything here, including the styles and who sees it and who doesn't see it, right? So once we add the hero, we can click here and add something else, maybe a list of things that we do, right? Maybe a list of things that we do, or probably a feature. So we can add a grid image, or we can probably add a feature. I think that's the one I love the most. On static, sorry, we can add a feature right here. So this is what users will benefit, or this is what your staff will benefit when they begin to use your application. So you can keep on adding here. I don't want to bore you with this, but I'm going to show you that you can do this with Softr. So let's go to the home itself. Softr is all about representing data in your application. And since this is a list of products and we want users to do stuff with the product, the first thing that we're going to represent here will be the product. In order for us to do that, we're going to use a list block, which is a grid. So there are different types of blocks. There is list, there is grid, there is table. But here, we're going to use a list block, right? Once we bring in the list block into Softr, the next thing we're going to see is that Softr is going to ask us to choose a database. So remember when I told you that you can use as many databases as you like with Softr? This is where you can do it. And so we'll click on the Softr customer portal, and then we'll click that we want the product to be here. And what Softr will do is that Softr will auto map the items in your database that it can recognize. That's what it will do. So you can see that it mapped the name, the description, but not the images. So in order for us to do that, we're going to come back here and we're going to click on, we're going to see item feed. So you can see all the item feeds over here. And you can see that we have a search bar, and we also have some, the features are drop-down features, right? But let's go fix the cover image first. So the cover image, we're going to map it to our image. So we're going to map it to product image. That's what we're going to map it to. Here's the product photo. And our art is going to be product name. That's going to be our art. So you can see now that we have all the images right here, right? For the search, so this is the search here. And for the search, we want users to be able to do something with it. We want users to be able to search by name, search by description, and also search by other things like the price, right? Let's click on price. Yeah, we want them to be able to search by price. And also we can talk about features here. We have feature as tags if we want to, but we don't really want users to be able to filter anything, but they can also filter by category if we allow them do so, right? We can tell them to filter by category. So let's say show as dropdown, and we tell them that we want to filter by the category name, right? So it means that when the user click on this, the list of category will come out and they will be able to filter just like so, right? And I think that's majorly what we want to do. And also you can determine if this will show on mobile or if it's going to show on the desktop screen, right? That card here on desktop screen, and then we have, this is the way it's going to show on mobile. So we can change how it's going to look like on mobile. So we can say large, so it shows one after the other on mobile, and then on desktop, it shows medium on desktop. You get it, right? So large on mobile, because on mobile, you're going to keep scrolling, and then it's going to show very wild on desktop. So here we can add a whole lot more. We can add a whole lot more tables to it if we want to. A whole lot more. If you click on the plus sign, we can add a whole lot more block to it. List block, more blocks to it if we want to, but we don't want to do that for the sake of this tutorial, right? So what happens when a user click on this add record? How did we get this add record here? It's default. It stays here. It's default because Softr thinks that users should be able to do something on this particular page, right? And also we can create a way for users to navigate from this page to another page if we so desire. So we click on this grid view, and then we click on actions. And here it says the top action should be add records. And if we click on add record, it says add new record, add, cancel, these are, and it's going to be showing up as a model, right? That's how it's going to show up. But when you're adding a new record, what feed do you want people to add? Because that's what Softr is all about. Softr is all about representing record, creating record, and deleting record. So if we click on the add feed, we want users to be able to impute some of this feed, right? So look at it again. There are two different types of feed, hidden feeds and impute feeds. Hidden feeds are feeds that you don't want users to bother filling. You want to fill them yourself, right, with the details that you have in this application. But impute feeds are feeds that users must impute in order for the submission to work. So for example, we want users to be able to fill the category name, description, name, want them to be able to fill the photo, the price, the SKU, and we want to be able to determine if it's visible or not visible. Yeah, like so. And then once we go with that, but that this user relationship itself is a hidden feed. So we don't want them to enter their name. They might have their email and their name spelled wrongly. So we want to be able to add it as a feed by ourselves. So we're going to click this add and we'll say add hidden feeds. And we're going to say the hidden feed I want to add is user relationship. And the item that we want to change, that we want to populate, is just one item. So we don't want to populate URL. We don't want to populate page URL. We don't want to populate the current time. We want to populate the name of this particular logged in user. That's the only thing we want to populate in a nutshell. So if we go back to our database, and we will see that if we go back to our users, the primary key, that's what we want to populate. The primary key is the name. That's the primary key. So this is the primary key. So this is the table's primary key, and that's what we want to populate. For example, if you come to the order, what we want to populate here is the order ID. That's what we likely want to do. When it comes to product, what we want to populate is the name of the product and nothing else, because this here is serving as the primary key. You can make any other thing primary key. So it's always better that you add another feed to it. So let's say, for example, that you add another feed here. So this is how you do it if you want to put security into, security into consideration. So you would add another feed and you call it record ID. So this will be record ID and it will be auto-generated, right? It will be auto-generated. So this is very cool if you want to use this product in another, this product table in another table. So it has a way of differentiating it. So what if two products has a very similar name or the same name, but two products can have the same ID, but two products can have very similar name, and it's not going to be very good. Okay. So that's how you do it. Always use the row ID if you want things to be special in your application. We can also allow users to do something when you click on the icon on this particular item, and also we can add a button beneath here that says, hey, when it opens, it say open a detail page, but we don't want to do that. We just want users to click themselves, to click any of the card, and then it will open a detail page. So here, if you come here, it says item on click. So when we click this item, what do we want to do? We want to open a detail page that shows everything about this item. And we want to be able to, so it's going to create a detail page for you by itself. Always allow Softr to create a detail page for you itself. It saves you a whole lot of work, but you can pull everything down afterwards and begin to redesign that detail page yourself. So Softr is going to be one, and it's going to be called product details. So remember, the name of the record in database is called product, and now it's just calling it product details. Right? You can delete all of this if you want to. If you don't need it, you can delete all of them. But let's go rearrange how these things look like. Right? So first, I'm going to take everything downwards. This is everything. This is side media, and this is downwards. I'm going to take everything downwards, and then I'm going to go to my cover, and then I will put the photo there, and the auth again will be the product name. It will be the product name right there. And that's what I'll do. For all of these, like SKU, tests, all of this, I can take them away because I don't need all of them, right? I can take them away. So the only thing I need here is the price. So I need the price. I'm going to give it I need the price, right? And I'm going to say price. And for the price here, I'm going to use, I want to use a heading body, and this is not good. So I'm going to take this away. I'm going to delete this, and I'll add the plus sign. And I want to add the price. I want to see Softr has a way of generating the header. Okay, yeah, I think this is where it is. So I'm going to use a heading and it says price, and I'm going to use a H1 for the price. And the prefix, I'm going to put the $sign as the prefix, and that's what I'm going to do. So this is where we have what we have here. We have the edit. This edit button that we have here is the action. So users are able to edit it, and we can also tell when this is going to be visible, right? We can tell when this is going to be visible. We'll go back to the users table and work on that again, right? And then what do we want users to be able to do on this page? What we want them to do on this page is to create an order, right? How would they create an order? Just follow closely. It's not so straightforward. Follow closely. I'm going to click on this plus sign, right? And I'm going to put a list, all right? Just follow me. And it's going to bring out the database. And then this is going to be a list of order. This is going to be a list of order, right? And then I'm going to filter it. I'm going to filter it where, this is a list of order where the product name is this particular product, current record, product name, right? That's what I'm going to do here. There's no order over here. And then it comes with a call to action. If I come here, the record will be to create an order, right? That's the call to action order. And I'm going to add input feeds. My input feeds is going to be the order note, quantity, right? And the status of the order. Those are the only feeds I'm going to add. Order notes, quantity, and the status of the order. And then I'm also going to add, customer email, right? I'm going to add all those as hidden feed. For example, the customer email, the related records, the related product records. I'm going to add all of them as a hidden feed. So let's add some hidden feeds over here. Hidden feeds, I'm going to add the customer email, and this is going to be the logged in user email. And let's add another one. No, let's add hidden feeds. I'm going to add the customer records, and it's going to be the logged in user name, right? And then I'm going to add hidden feed again. I'm going to add a related product record. It's going to be the detail page, product name. That's what it's going to be, so that these records are created well and all the mappings take place very well, right? So let's go to our user table before we run a test. Let's click on users. Remember, on my database, I have a user table. Remember, right? I have a user table. And so now what I want to do, I want to map the user table and the user table on Softr. That's what I want to do. This is the user table here. So I want to map it. So I'll come here, I'll click on users, and I'm going to sync it with data source. And it's going to ask me which of them. I'll say Softr customer portal. And then it's going to ask me which. I'll say users. I'm going to say or. And then I'm going to say email, map user feed name, The avatar is going to be the profile image, and that's it. And then I'll come here and sync. But there's a few advanced things that you want to do, but don't worry, you don't have to do that. This is a beginner's course, so you don't have to do that. So this is going to take a little bit of time. This is going to take a bit of time for this to work. And before you know it, you should see all your users populate right here on your DB. So these are all the users: created time, user group, status. These are status. These are created method, and so you don't have to bother about that though. So let's go back to our interface. Let's go back to our homepage. Let's go to our homepage. And let's go back to, let's preview our record. So if you've been able to do this, you followed me here, it means that it's been awesome. It really means that you've been really, really awesome. This is our internal tool, and we can add a record here. I'm gonna add a record here. So I'm gonna pick a category, electronic. I'm gonna pick a description. And the description is gonna be simple, awesome product. Don't really have a lot of it. So name, we're gonna say machine capacitor. So I'm doing this from my head right now. Photo, okay. Photo will have to be a link. So I have to find a link of a photo and put in here. Price, I'm gonna say 400. SKU, I'm gonna say W55. Visible, I'm gonna say yes. So I'm gonna grab a photo somewhere and put it in here. So probably I'm gonna use a photo of I'm gonna find a photo somewhere. Just a minute. Okay, this is my photo. Put it in here, and I'm gonna say add. So it says new record created successfully. So it should be around here. Should be around here. A little more. So here you go, machine capacitor description, simply awesome product. And then when we click into this this product, we should go to the product page. I think the network is a bit slow. So this is the product page, and you can test as any of the user here, especially if you're trying to test something with different user roles, right? Here I can edit the products, right? I can edit the products. It doesn't have a feed. We didn't put any feed here, but we can do that later. And then we can create an other. So we just said create a record, but what we should be doing here on this product detail page is not to add a record, but to create an order. That's what we ought to do there. Not to add a record. So we're gonna create order. Create order. That's what we're supposed to do here. Create order. So let's go back here. We'll just refresh this, and it should say create order. So here we say create an order. So we're gonna put a note. We're going to say example note for creating an order. Quantity, we would say 34. Status, we would say pending, and we'll add. So the order has been created successfully. Let's go back here. Let's go back to our DB and see if it worked. If it doesn't work, funny, it's not a terrible thing if it didn't work. It will have to, you'd have to check it out and see if what you did worked or not, right? So first we can see that this order was made by Ivan, and here you can see the order ID over here. And now if we come back here to our orders, a record should be created. So we can see that order ID, we can see the order note, status pending, customer email. We can see the customer email, profile image, the name. So the thing that didn't come up, what didn't come up is a related product. So the related product did not come up. This is expecting a record. The related product did not come up. And so we would have to figure out why this did not come up. Okay, so we were able to save the order, we weren't able to save the product. So let's imagine that this is the related product. Let's see if it's going to pull it. You can see it's pulling it out because this is the related product. So what we didn't do is that we didn't pull the related product in here. So it's either we're pulling it wrongly or we are, pulling the wrong thing here. Right, we're pulling the wrong thing in here. So let's go to our interface. Let's go to our order. Let's go to our order and let's go to our actions and let's go to create an order. Let's add this and this customer email. This is customer related record. Okay, let's go back in here and see what we did. The order, it's supposed to be, let's see what it's supposed to be. So it's supposed to be related product record. This is what we ought to fill, related product record. So let's go to our interface and find what we're supposed to update. So we ought to add one to it, hidden related product record, and we ought to add the product name. Yeah, link the product name. That's what we ought to add right there. So let's go again. Let's go here. Let's refresh. Let's create an order. So that's something about development. There might be something that didn't go well that you have to test. And that's why you have a tool like Softr has this refresh ability that you can use to always, see if what you're doing, if it worked or not. So I'm going to say example order note. And quantity, I would say 54. And status, I'm going to say pending and add. So we have a new record added. So we can see we have a new record added here. Let's go to Softr. Let's go to data. So we have a new record, and then we have everything filling out successfully. You can see this is a new record, example order note by the same person. We have everything filling out successfully, and we can use these other details to do other things in our application that we want to. Thank you. This has been a long ride with you. I hope you learned something. I hope you were able to get started with Softr easily now. This is a beginner's guide, and soon I'm going to be releasing an advanced tutorial on how you can do stuff with the REST API, and you can, make your Softr app a whole lot better. All right. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any question, feel free to leave it for me in the comment section, and I'll do well to help you out. And also, there's some useful link below. If you want to sign up for Softr, use the link below. It's going to help you sign up and hopefully give you a discount too. And if you have a project that you need help with, feel free to click on the link below. I'm going to, give you some free advice on how that should work, on how you should go about whatever you want to accomplish. And if you want to build a whole project, I'll be able to help you. I'm a pro software builder. I'll be able to help you bring that job to life. Till then, keep building and keep shipping out and keep getting better. Thank you.